Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Just wanted to do quickly a team preview for two of the teams playing this weekend. The one being the Bulls and the other one being the Lions. So this will be the Bulls one. I'll do the other two next week when they play, the Stormers and the Sharks, and have a look at they're coming into the thing. But let's start with the Bulls. Last season's finalist, Jake White's still there, and obviously looking to go one better this season. They've obviously improved quite a bit. They've taken... they've now suddenly got a couple of Springboks in Ruan Nokia, Kanan Moody, Kurt the Orenser. There's a couple of guys. Johan Krobel will probably be a Springbok soon. Suddenly they've decided not to do any preseason games. They've given their players off for 6 weeks. They've had a proper preseason for the first time in 2 years. And they're really looking forward. I think Jake White said it best when he said the belief is back in the team. You can have a look at him saying just that right here.
Yeah, Mike. I mean, of course. I mean, having gone to Ireland and beaten Leinster is obviously a massive. I mean, you can't put a price on that. I mean, people now believe that in our group that we're good enough to beat the best teams. And I mean, Leinster are predominantly one of the best teams in Europe for a long period of time. So yes, the belief is there. As I said, I think we probably superseded the expectation early on. I mean, not taking it away. When you have a crack at playing a final, you've got to win it. But this group of players, I mean, if you go through Aldrich Lowe and you go through Ruan and you go through Kirtley and you go through Kanan, I mean, the average age of our group is very young. And I think the expectation of our board and of people that are involved in our organisation would be 23, 24 would be a fantastic time for this group to mature. I'm just so excited to see we probably jumped ahead quicker than we should have, and now it's the second year. I'm quite keen to see if we can maintain that sort of momentum into the second year. Because let's be fair, guys. I mean, I just spoke to someone now. There's no ways Leinster are bringing a B team to South Africa again. There's no ways Ulster are going to be set up again in terms of expectations of the African sides. There's no ways the Irish teams are, who are predominantly the best teams in this competition over the last couple of years, are going to come with their eyes closed again. So, I'm not taking any away. We're going to have to be better, because I got no doubt every team that now plays against South African franchises is going to want to do better as well. So, yeah, that's the challenge, I suppose, for all coaches, to see how good we are in year two.
Now, one good point Jake makes is that the Bulls are going to be one of the teams with a target on their back. Loftus was an unknown factor for some of the European teams coming up, but they're certainly going to prepare for the altitude a lot more. They're going to prepare for the Bulls' way of play. And Jake is right when he says the Bulls need to be better this season around. The Bulls have sort of lost one or two players. They lost most notably Madosh Tambwe. He's left. They've lost Richard Creel, a couple of the youngsters as well. But in all, they've actually brought in some good replacements. Wandisile Semelane has been budding and being knocking on the door of the Springboks for a couple of seasons now. Wasn't really getting the game time or the backing at the Lions, and now he's come through to the Bulls, so you can expect him to play a bigger role. It gives them more depth in the midfield, where Stedman Khans and Cornel Hendricks and a couple of the other guys are around. The other big signing they made is Spoo Nkosi, who they brought in from the Sharks. Now, Spoo's had a bit of a checkered history. He missed last season's Springbok tour with visa issues. He's just gone quiet, and there's been some stories about him at the Sharks, and you've all been wondering where he is, but he's sort of resurfaced. Looks a lot more motivated and keen to get his Springbok place back a year before the World Cup. So, yeah, that's a good signing as well. And he replaces Madosh Tambwe, who was a big part of that Bulls backline last season. That's going to be quite a back three. Spoon Corsi with Kurt the Orenser and Kanan Moody when they get them to play together after the international season. That is certainly a back three that's going to cause some tries and cause some havoc in opposition. You look in the midfield, I mean, other than Stedman Khan, Cornel Hendricks, they've got Harold Forster. Those are the three stalwarts they still got there, and now they've got also the likes of Semelane, who's come in as well. They've got Chris Smith, who came through from Griquas. Just really Cheetahs as well. He's really a decent sort of backup player to have, and their depth is growing as a squad. At fly-off, they've got some depth as well. Chris Smith is still there. Mornay Stein's hanging around. He'll probably hang around till he's 65. We love Mornay, so he can really hang around as long as he likes. I think, and Johan Christensen's back from injury. Got some depth there. At scrum-off, Zach Berger and Emrose Papira are still there. Keegan Johannes, they've got some good depth there as well. And then a loose forward. somewhere they've improved by bringing through Marco van Staden, who was unattached, who was released by Leicester. They've sort of bolstered there. Marcel Coetzee is still there. Elrich Lowe will come back at some point in the season. They've really got some good loose forwards. Signed two very, very quality up and coming players in Eugene Makwelena and Mishlali Mosi. Both of them performed exceptionally well in the Currie Cup, and both of them are really, I'd like to see what they do in a quality sort of loose trio as well with behind that Bulls pack. Yeah, I think the Bulls, the biggest problem last season was probably the fact that they didn't handle some of the games in the beginning of the season well. They turned it around when they got back to Loftus. They were penalised a lot. But as Marcel Coetzee says here, they think they've worked out the penalties, and they reckon that's going to be a lot better this season. So listen what he has to say.
100%. You put the team under a lot of pressure when you give away soft penalties. And some key games we lost because of poor discipline, and that's something we address in the off season as well. How we can be better communication with the refs, what they want, what pictures they want as well, and how we as a team must take ownership of that, So now I think we've taken some huge strides, but first 3 games in the URC might be a bit rusty, but it's all about finding your momentum quick and early, and just continue building on that.
The fact that they didn't have a pre-season is an interesting one. They've gone very differently to a lot of other teams who's played pre-season games. The Sharks played 2, Lions and the Stormers played 2, Lions played 1. And they feel that's going to work for them. And this is their reasoning. Listen to Chris Rousseau, their assistant coach, as to their reasoning.
Yeah, obviously I think we'll probably be 1 or 2 paces off the pace. But we gave the guys 5 weeks off. It's the first off time we had in 2 years. So I think the time they had off will suit us well in the middle of the year because it's a long season. In saying that, we had a very good pre-season the last 6 weeks. We had obviously a game against 2 sides of the Bulls last week, which was very good for us. But you all know the real thing will get you there, so it'll probably take us probably 2-3 weeks to get back to proper match fitness. But otherwise, we're quite comfortable where we're at.
Saying that, year 2 is always tougher than year 1. But the Bulls have got the belief, they believe they can do it, and there's no reason why they can't. I think still the Stormers and some of the bigger teams are going to be interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see how they handle Europe. At some stage they're going to play in 3 competitions at the same time when the Currie Cup comes back. Do they try like last season to try and win all 3, or do they try and focus on 1 or 2 and try and do their best in that? That we'll see. We'll hear a lot more from the coaching season throughout. But the Bulls had a good season last year, and there's all the right reasons to believe they're going to have a good one again this year. I reckon they're probably top 4 candidates, and if they hit their straps, finalists, and from there anything can happen. Anyhow, those are my thoughts on the Bulls. It's going to be a difficult one to predict this year. There's so many teams who've made improvements, and we'll see after the first couple of rounds of the season how they all go. So that's my sort of assessment of them going ahead to it. What's your assessment? Where do you think they're going to end up? Please leave your comments below. Let me hear what you think, and I'll have a read of them and reply. And please continue watching these videos. And if you haven't smashed that subscribe button, do it soon. Then you'll see all the videos as they come out. But thanks for watching, and chat to you soon.